Who needs brand management? Hello, my name is Imani Swift. I'm a brand manager and marketing expert. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I talk all things about profitable brand narratives, strategy, your brand management, and that just goes over how your target audience perceives you, the experiences that they get when they enter into your space. If those kinds of things interest you on your entrepreneurial journey, then welcome, you're in the right space. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It means so much to me. With that being said, let's get into it. I want to preface this by saying this has nothing to do with my political stance or anyone's political stance for this matter. Instead, what this video is about is brand governance failure. And this is because once a personal mission becomes profitable, it becomes a business. And businesses are to be held accountable for the perception, the trust, and narrative control of the brand. See, profit changes the rules. While Erica Kirk's team does a phenomenal job with managing the visuals, they are doing a poor job at managing the brand. Let's get into the core failure, so this doesn't just seem like a theory. Yes, a brand consists of logos, colors, photography, staging, but none of that equals reputation, sentiment, narrative, trust. Here's the data blind spot that's being missed. They are not practicing real social listening. They are not tracking language shifts. And if they are, they're not doing the best job. They need to look at the comment tone changes. What is being said on social media? What's happening with supporter disengagement, donor sentiment, opposition narratives? If your audience changes and your strategy doesn't, your brand is already outdated. Now, here's where the narrative collapse comes into play. They failed to define the story. There's a story out there, it's just not a good one. See, when you don't capture your brand story, this is what happens. Opposition creators defined it. A perfect example of this is Candace Owens. This is what you guys are seeing right before your eyes, literally in 4K. Comment sections become a source of truth, and silence gets interrupted as avoidance. And here's what everybody seems to miss. If you don't define your brand, the internet will. Now let's talk about the identity confusion. Currently, Erica Kirk's brand is trying to do too many different things at once. Number one being, I'm a grieving, the persona of the grieving widow, of the Christian, of this. There's all these different elements of being a CEO, being conservative. It's all of these different things. Legacy versus monetization, grief versus business, movement versus influence. Here's the thing I need you to know. People don't distrust brands that make mistakes, but they do distrust brands that are undoubtedly unclear. One thing to take into account is it doesn't matter how much influence you have, it doesn't matter how well known you are, how much money you have. If there is no clarity around your brand, then it causes confusion and disruption. It causes your brand to compete internally with all of these different roads to take. Should I be the grieving widow? Should I look like the profitable Christian business owner? Should I focus more on conservative politics? It's just too many things. The monetization shift. The moment money is involved, the emotional shield is gone. Here's why. Profit introduces something: ethical expectations, transparency requirements, audience accountability. Here's the thing that people don't like to come to terms with. You cannot sell and still expect to be exempt from scrutiny. And this is where the amplification problem comes right in and causes a ruckus. Without crisis systems, narrative control, reputation modeling, the aesthetic just becomes a megaphone for distrust. Because let's face it, visuals do not fix broken brands. Instead, they do something much worse, that is expose them faster. Now, let's talk about the part that you are probably wondering. What is the solution to this problem? The fix. There needs to be a social listening infrastructure put in play. I know social listening seems so small and not a big deal, but it is actually going to give you the most advantage. Even if you are already well known, there's all these people that know you, you're profitable, it will give you insane leverage. And you can do it at a high capacity if you are somebody who has capital to play around with. And looking at Erica Kirk, she has plenty of capital to play around with. Number two, single brand identity. Define the primary mission. Everything goes back to the mission. Everything else supports just that, the mission. Everything else that is happening should support the mission. Narrative governance is so important. This is the next thing you really want to focus on. What does your crisis tree response look like? How do we handle crisis? How do we handle distrust from certain people in our audience segment? What does our approved language model look like? Who is the spokesperson for our brand? See, brand management is protection, not decoration. If your target audience is confused, then it just means that your brand is mismanaged. If your reputation is being shaped by comment sections, your team is not leading, they are reacting. What can you learn from this? What can you take away from looking at someone like Eric or Kirk? What does this have to do with you as a profitable personal brand? Some of you guys are monetized on YouTube and you're making $50,000, $100,000 reoccurring every single month. You have a personal brand that needs to be protected. If you are someone who says, I don't let negative comments affect me, that is one thing. But sometimes negative comments affect everybody who is participating in your brand space. And that can influence them, that can cause their minds to shift. See, this type of thing has to have order. It has to have control and confinement. And this is why smart business owners have a brand manager. They don't have to guess what we should do, which direction. They already have someone protecting their brand because they know that they cannot effectively protect their brand and manage, self-regulate, and manage their clients and all these different CEO duties that they have. This is why people work and hire a brand manager and marketing experts. That's my take for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.